So this video is going to be a little bit different today. I've had some comments and questions recently on the artwork and treasures that are behind me when I do my videos. So I thought I would give you a little tour of this gallery wall today in case you yourself are wondering about any of the things that you've seen. So there are a few random things on this wall, this radio front, this piece, and this, and I believe both of these frames. My husband and I picked when we were doing antique picking down in Medicine Hat in southern Alberta. There was a store that was supposed to be going out of business, but we were there last summer and they were still in business. So the fellow who ran it, he was retiring and 9 of his kids wanted to take it over, and it was just a secondhand shop. And he let us have free run of the basement and found a whole bunch of little treasures, a lot of which we sold because that's what we do. But some of which we kept. So this, as I mentioned, is the front of an old radio. Yes, I know it is hanging upside down because that's the way I think it's pretty. It's not the front of a radio anymore, so I can hang it however I like. This is the front of a corner cabinet. The back edges are beveled, so I think it was a corner cabinet. And I just thought it was pretty. It was probably either was a detail on the top or between the legs at the bottom, and it was just like a random bit. They did a lot of like antique furniture repair at one time in that shop, so they had little bits and bobs. I got a whole bunch of like chair spindles and just random things that I thought were cool, and that was one of the things that was just randomly lying around this crazy junk shop basement. Now, when we decorated this wall, we laid everything out on the floor, and we had way more stuff than this, and we were just sort of deciding what was going to go in here and what wasn't. And my husband had picked these at a thrift store in our neighborhood, and we had originally intended to actually take the flower things out and just use the frames. But when we were laying everything out, we were like, wow, these actually look really good. So we're going to keep them. And the cool thing is, I mean, they were made with love by somebody for their family members, and the inscriptions are still on the back. This one says, June 23rd, 88, happy 15th anniversary, much love from Mum. And this one says, 1987, Merry Christmas, Ken and Kathy, love Mum. Whoever Ken and Kathy are, I got your artwork. We love it. It's still hanging. I've actually really come to love these because somebody put so much time and effort into them and just gave them with love, and they probably, you know, hung on somebody's wall for decades. And I would imagine that anytime somebody looked at them, they thought of the mom who loved them that made those beautiful pieces for them. So I really like them. Now, this is the one that I get the most questions about. No, this is not a portrait of me. Many people have asked. This is actually a self-portrait done by a local artist, Laura Erdman. She's a friend of ours. And we went to one of her art shows, and I bought this, and I bought this piece, this block print that she did as well. I will link her Instagram below. She's Molecular Art on Instagram, but I highly recommend checking out her Instagram page. She's just wonderful, and she's just one of the best people, and I love having artwork from people that I know on my wall. So yeah, that's Laura, everybody. This up here, I think my husband got that at a garage sale. Maybe it was a thrift store, I'm not sure. He picked it somewhere. It's just an antique cast iron dog trick piggy bank, and yes, it still absolutely works. We did have to replace like the little hoop that the dog jumps through, but other than that, it's really cool, and it's a neat thing. This is a portrait of my eldest daughter, Wilhelmina, when she turned 2. We drug an old chair out to a park and took some pictures of her. Some of you might recognize some of these items already because I did a video a while ago on like maker heirlooms, and these are my great-grandmother's knitting needles, most of them. Some I've collected around along the way in other places. This is something my husband found me. This is a late Victorian pin cushion and spool holder. And I do have some antique spools I should really put on there. Maybe I'll get to that today. Right here we have a portrait of Penelope. I think she was, I don't think she was even a week old. We had a friend of ours who's a photographer, Andrea Holwas. Typically, she's actually a wildlife photographer, but she came in and did these photos of us. So, you know, grizzly bears one day, our kids the next. It was fun. This was actually a door prize at Eternal Image Tattoo's Christmas party one year. Eternal Image is a tattoo shop that my husband gets a lot of his work done here in Calgary. And this was Dylan Durkholm, I think I said his name right. He was tattooing there for a while, and so that was one of the door prizes at the Christmas party that we got. This is one of my all-time favorite pictures of Steve and our eldest, Wilhelmina. I think she was like 6 years old, maybe just about to turn 7. We were at the zoo one day and they both had their punk rock vests on and just holding hands and walking together, and I absolutely love that picture. Here we have 2 more pictures of the kiddos. One is of Wilhelmina blowing bubbles, and that was actually at my maternity photo shoot when I was pregnant with Penny, and the same friend who took Penny's pictures when she was born did that photo shoot as well. And just a picture of Penny in a hat. That's super cool. Just her being her cool self. Now there is a bit of a space here, you may notice. My sister has promised me a block print that I haven't gotten yet. But that's what that's for. Maybe one day. Maybe this year. Hey Tash, maybe? That'd be awesome. Here we have a couple pieces of kiddo art. These are both by Wilhelmina. This is a dolphin. And then we have some beautiful weaving that she did. Over here I have another photo of Wilhelmina, who is hanging upside down on a jungle gym. And then up here we have another piece of tattoo artist artwork. This is by Scott Veldhoven, who did most of my husband's tattoo work, and he is out of Eternal Image here in Calgary, the same shop that I talked about earlier. And then of course we've got Gertie. And if you've been around my channel for a while, you've probably seen me dance with Gertie, or talk about Gertie, or hang out with Gertie, or show bras on Gertie. And she was another thrift store find. And usually she is dressed in this combination of pearls that I got on a trip to Hawaii and Christmas garland because it fell behind the table when I put my ornaments away and I didn't want to dig out the boxes, so I hung them on Gertie, and she has forever since been dressed in Christmas garland because that's just the way it worked out. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little tour of my art wall. It was really fun showing it to you. Thank you everybody who's asked about it, who's been interested in it. I love having other people's creative work in my creative space. There's something about it that just keeps me creative, you know? So yeah, let me know in the comments if you keep anybody else's artwork in your sewing space or in your creative spaces at all. Because I'm curious to know now if other people do this as well. I love it. I love having other people to inspire me, even though it's not sewing, it's something different, just having that creative energy around me. I really love it. Thank you so much for taking this little tour with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I answered your questions if you had any about my backdrop. And yeah, that's all there is to it. Have a great day. I'll see you next week.